All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's second round, or opening, what's really opening round, but our second round matchup of the Mega Man 5 2021 Any Percent Tournament. We have a 3-14 matchup tonight between FeralPigMan, the 3 seed, versus the 14 seed Khanster786. And this is a best of 3 matchup, as it will be throughout the tournament, so we should be in for a lot of high-octane action. I'm Pro-A007, very happy to be joining you here, and on the mic with me this evening is Resisting Frame. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. I actually just started this game, but I'm actually having a lot of fun learning this game and, of course, participating in the tournament, so I'm actually excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and Mega Man 5 historically has been one of the more interesting games.
Yeah, definitely, and we're gonna see a lot of cool strats that are very you won't see in many other Mega Man games. So this game has a lot of one-of-a-kind tricks, especially in the classic Megas.
Yeah, and there are some other interesting quirks to this game. You're going to see a lot of extra lives. Mega Man 5 likes to give them out in bunches.
Yeah, that's one of the main things about Mega Man 5. It actually just not even lives itself. It has a pretty high drop rate. So there are a lot of stages where you kind of have to be a little bit extra cautious, especially in a marathon or race setting. So we'll see how they react.
Yeah, there are a lot of spikes in this game too, so it kind of evens out. Our runners have been given the go-ahead, and here we go. Now, unlike, say, Mega Man 3, which actually allows for some flexibility in your route, Mega Man 5, it's pretty much going to be the same route from every single player, unless somebody wants to be really bold and daring.
Yeah, definitely, man. And this, even though it is the first stage, it is by no means easy. There are a lot of spikes, and of course, with the gravity lifting you up higher per the jumps, you're gonna take a lot of risk. So you definitely don't want to miscalculate any jumps at this point.
Yeah. The spikes in the room really can really throw you off, and with it's not zero gravity, but it's low gravity, like you would actually have on the moon, and that can also kind of throw off your sense of timing. The good news is to your point, this is the first stage, so once you get through this, you don't have to deal with this the rest of the run. But it is a little jarring, at first to kind of have to go through with this. But FeralPigMan doing a fine job navigating his way past these enemies and taking a couple of damage boosts here or there to make quick work of the opening stage. Khanster's about 3 or 4 screen transitions behind right now.
Yeah, and then approaching Starman, even though he does have his shield active, if you're in well enough distance, usually within his shooting motion, you can actually get shots inside of his shield. And this is how we pretty much try to play him. We try to play him close, and then there we go, a quick buster. And we're gonna see FeralPigMan also try to do some short jumps to get a grab skip here. The grab skip is he didn't get it. The grab skip saves about 1.5 seconds, and pretty much it gives you a normal screen animation that you normally would have in any other stage. But the normal one in Starman is where you're actually floating for a bit. So.
Yeah,
we didn't get to see it this time around.
So Khanster not quite as practiced at this as FeralPigMan. FeralPigMan actually has a PB of 33.56. Khanster is a newcomer to the game and is still over 1 hour in his PB. Although he played this opening stage pretty well, I'd say. Was able to navigate it pretty successfly. We'll see how he handles Gravity Man.
There we go. We got the grab skip though.
Yeah.
That very quick normal strat, and of course we have the main reason why we go for Starman is, of course, we have the super arrow, which we actually saw the first instance just a couple of seconds ago from Feral, and here we see another one where it just allows us to traverse the stages horizontally at a faster pace. And of course, you can see just go over everything. What a genius weapon this one is.
Yeah, and how they position these arrows is very precise in several cases, because if it's a little off, it's going to it could end up being a death, or you're going to lose your momentum or whatever. So you got to be pretty careful. FeralPigMan on his way to the Gravity Man fight, which is a completely scripted fight. So this should be very academic as far as FeralPigMan is concerned. See him using Starman's ability, and boom, down he goes.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, for the beginning, we're gonna just try to explain the mechanics. So there's actually so much to talk about, and with Feral and Khanster moving so fast, we won't be able to cover everything. But hopefully, in the second race, we can cover what we left off. So one of the things to note about the arrows is that it requires 2 energy to release a shot. But if you have 1, you can still shoot 1 off. So that's pretty much the least requirement that you need. If you have 2, it'll shoot 2, but 1 is just enough. And also, the ammo will deplete as you stand on it. But there's actually a little trick that that runners will use, where they actually kind of try to roll off the arrow, and because it's moving fast horizontally, it won't let you fall off. So it actually will reduce how fast the ammo gets how fast the ammo goes down.
You saw FeralPigMan just kind of doing that stutter step all the way through that first major screen, and he actually had just 1 item, 1 energy left over on the arrow, which allotted him to get the big one pretty quickly. Khanster having a little trouble here. He's getting his attacks negated by Gravity Man, but finally takes him down, and so that's 2 down for Khanster. FeralPigMan does stop to get the K, which indicates he's going to go for beat. Why don't you explain the whole idea around beat?
Oh, yeah. So there are 2 categories here. And the one that we're going to see mainly, if not only, is going to be the beat category, where we actually traverse all the levels and we pick up a letter for each stage, each robo stage. And that allows us to unlock beat. And beat is a little feisty bird, but he becomes super necessary, mainly for the final stage. But I think we can talk more about beat as when we get to Darkman stages, because that's where we actually will see them a little bit often more. And this gyro fight coming up is actually exact ammo. So you can, even though it's pretty simple to do it, a little mistake can just have you switching over to Buster. So you want to be careful there.
Luckily, Gyro Man is not an especially difficult boss, even without Gravity Man's weapon, but it obviously takes longer. So, but getting Gyro attack also gives us Rush Jet, which will get some utility as well throughout this run.
Yes. We'll actually see it at this stage coming up.
Yes. That's right, because this is not in any percent. There's a little skip that you can do, the stage skip, but that's not going to happen here. They got to get the letter for this stage, so that's and
Khanster takes the death right next to the K. K for Khanster.
Well,
but it is a quick death. It is a quick death. So
yeah,
he'll be right where he is.
So FeralPigMan is about near the halfway point of Crystal Man's stage. Another stage full. You're noticing a lot of spikes. Well, they kind of offsets all of those extra lives you're gonna get.
That's true. They're like, we give you lives, but we give you a lot of spikes.
Yeah, it's all the Mega Man games have kind of their little quirks and traits. 5, it spikes, lives, and a really ridiculously powerful Mega Buster.
Yes, and that's actually another thing that we can talk about. So the way the Mega Buster is in Mega Man 5 is one of the main things is that you cannot charge the Mega Buster normally like you would in 6 or 4, where you can slide and hold it. In this case, your Buster does not charge while you're sliding. So you're going to see a lot of times these runners are actually going to be walking just to get their charge going, and this Buster is a hell of a weapon in this game. You're going to see the majority of the time in Buster.
Yeah. Right, so about the 840 mark, there's a 1 Robot Master difference as Feral is going to Napalm Man and Khanster is about to start Crystal Man. Napalm Man has a little bit of trivia that I'm sure everybody knows. This is the reason why the game was banned in a few countries because of Napalm Man.
Oh, I actually did not know this.
Yeah, it was banned in a couple of countries in Asia because Napalm has a rather nasty reputation for obvious reasons. But that aside, an interesting stage with a lot of tricky platforming.
Yes, and definitely you don't want to take damage while you're in those waterfalls, that platform waterfalls, because they will drag you as you take more damage boost. So I've died plenty of times there, taking one jump small, one jump big. But we actually saw in strat from Khanster, these crystals that actually fall down are kind of RNG at certain points. So we saw him use the star shield to kind of negate the falling spikes, the falling crystals, because they will knock you down into a pit or into the spikes. So we see how he's just kind of switching in between. And this is just for safety, trying to avoid those crystals from hitting him.
So yeah, that's a good beginner strat to utilize, and he's definitely playing it pretty safe here in Crystal Man, because there are a lot of pitfalls. The worst of it is probably over. We still got to be careful. There's an extra life. And Feral had no trouble with Napalm Man, so that's 5 down at a little over the 10-minute mark. Khanster just got his second E-Tank for the stage. He picked one up as a freebie earlier.
Ooh, nice. He has 2, yeah. He does still have 3 lives, so fight to death. He's doing good.
Yeah, so far he's playing solidly. I mean, he's well over a stage behind, and there's an extra life. So yeah, we weren't kidding when we said this game is very generous with the lives.
Yes, and with Feral approaching Stone Man, there's actually not a lot of things that can kill you in this stage, but it's one of the few stages where it has just a lot of technical points where if you kind of make like these little small mistakes, you will end up losing time overall. So a lot of runners consider this one of the more difficult stages of the game, despite not having like dangerous situations.
No, it's a lot of vertical movement in this stage, and some, while not necessarily dangerous platforming, still fairly tricky. So you still have to be on point, and it's definitely, you definitely get a workout. It kind of reminds me of a Hardman stage in Mega Man 3, with a lot of that vertical movement, and the setting obviously also lends itself. So I imagine they took some inspiration from this. Yeah,
I actually didn't think about it before, but it's very similar to Hardman, minus the bee.
Yeah.
Oh, the bees.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we are eternally grateful for that. But so Feral, Mr. Cab, not the bees. No, never the bees.
All right, and we're gonna see what strat Feral uses here. Where he's gonna switch to the Napalm. So you're gonna see a little bit different strats towards the end of Napalm stage, and where you take the kind of damage boost, you kind of save yourself the extra pause screen from switching to gravity hold. and you take the damage boost and you hit the napalm in such a way where you actually can avoid the other small mets that pop up from those mets, the mets that are close to the stage.
Yeah, the baby Mets, which is, according to Mello, is worse than everything ever. No, he's not trying to call.
Imagine avoiding Mets. I do that every time when I head home, since I'm so close to Met Stadium. But anyways.
Oh, really?
So we got Feral Man-Pig getting Power Stone, and Power Stone is actually considered one of the worst weapons in the game. And you're gonna see how it's used towards the end of the stage in the boss fight. Here we have some tricky arrow strats coming up. The first one, trying to have enough just to jump over the ladder. He needs 2 for this next one, and there we go. Might have to slide under. Oh no, perfect. So with these 2 arrows placed, he can actually go through the stage untouched until he goes down. And he's approaching the chicken room, which of course I'm pretty sure he probably dedicated to somebody already. We always dedicate chicken room to somebody. And we're gonna see how he does. The letter coming up is actually a little bit tricky. You kind of have to be kind of on the edge and jump and get it nice. So if you miss that one, you kind of have to just jump back on the platform and go again.
Yeah. And this stage is really, this whole level's basically, okay, Feral trying to kind of set up his arrow here for the final run through of this stage. And okay, very nicely done by FeralPigMan, and he's going to take a damage boost, and now it's like, if this goes awry, you're going to see why people hate this power-up, because it is truly a pain to deal with.
So you see that he's actually pause buffering because you cannot use it again until all the rocks disappear. But he actually landed a pretty good hit. I think it was on the 2nd or 3rd hit where he can actually hit it in such a way where all 3 stones actually hit Charge Man. And of course you can avoid the pause buffer and also get a shot in right away after the invulnerability frame. So that's actually very good. For me personally, I can't do it as much as I try. I'm just throwing rocks somewhere and hope it hits.
Yeah, that's kind of been my, I guess, philosophy as far as that goes. FeralPigMan now on to the last of the 8 Robot Masters. Wave Man, our resident aquatic Robot Master. There are a couple of tricks in this stage, and I'm sure FeralPigMan is going to go for both of them. The first is going to do like a little bit of a bubble skip and speed up this vertical platforming, kind of a quasi-auto scroller in a sense, but he will utilize some strats here to make this section, which is rather tedious. And there it is.
That was beautiful. And this next trick coming up is actually is very easy to do. But you kind of risk if you land too early just before the transition stage, you risk soft locking the game. So it's something that some runners know how to do, but probably stay away from during marathon or race settings. But speaking personally to Feral and myself have similar opinions. Just having the ability to shoot left and move freely without the wave is definitely worth taking the chance on soft locking. So you can see here he just kind of and of course you can also shoot your charge shots though.
Yeah, that's an advantage. Makes that mini boss a lot faster, having the ability to take care of that mini boss with a charge shot rather than the boat shots. And it takes like 20-25 hits without charging. So any advantage you can get off of this is huge. So Feral almost done here with this water auto scroll. Nice pickup there for Khanster. Gets him about 2/3 health. So he gets ready for this final state portion of this. There's another one, so that's good.
Plenty.
Back to where he needs to be.
All right, so we're approaching Waveman. The way he shoots his waves is kind of RNG. You don't really know exactly where it's going to shoot his waves. And this is a boss where you kind of it's hard to not take damage from, because of course the charge kick requires you to kind of slam into your opponent. So we're gonna see usually players try to make sure they have enough health coming into this fight, or if not, they always have that trusted E tank you take on Crystal Stage handy.
So Feral was out at 1834 with 8 Robot Masters, so a solid time for Feral as he gets ready to do the Dark or Proto-Man stages, if you prefer. As you know, he is of course the villain in this game.
And let's see. All right, so this stage is actually, this intro is like one of the more fun stages for me in this Darkman stage, because you kind of have to traverse all those teleporting things, and of course all the tigers. And this is interesting strat here where you actually call Jet right at the edge, and you can kind of go under, and there we go, beautiful. I think they call that what's it called? The hidden crouching tiger, hidden rush jet.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm not. I've heard that strat. I just don't remember the name offhand. I'm sure chat will in like crouching tiger, hidden rush jet.
There
yes, thank you.
The confirmation from Mr. Cab on that.
Yes.
All right. So I think aside from that, I think the hardest part of the stage has just already happened. We're gonna see him taking intentional damage boosts here to kind of go through the Star Wars robot-looking thing. And we use Rush Jet here to just avoid all the blocks instead of having to wait and climb up. And with Dark, the first Darkman boss approaching, the key that you want to know is that every time you shoot, you cause some damage. For the most part, he's gonna shoot a counter attack back, a counter lemon. And if you hit him early enough, of course, you can avoid getting, he won't hit fast enough to hit a second lemon. So you can actually get like about 2 hits in, which is what Feral did a couple of times. So that was a pretty good fight. There you go. We saw Khanster having a little bit trouble with the letter. Got it anyway. All right. And here's another tricky part coming up for Feral. So here we have a lot of conveyor belts, and of course, if you take damage here, you're most likely going to take a death. And if you can easily slide off or miss jump, right? So anything, little mistake there can cost you a death. But he traversed it pretty easily.
Yeah, the Proto-Man, Darkman stages do have little tricks and quirks to their themes, and you know, as it is with a lot of this, it is fairly precarious at times. Though FeralPigMan is making fine work of this. So Khanster looks like he's out of E-tanks. Yeah, he's out. So we got the M-tank, I suppose, but I didn't want to use that. He's 1 hit away, it looks like. Ooh, missed that.
There we go. Good job.
Very nicely done.
All right, and this is where actually we get our first instance of beat here with Darkman 2. So the way beat works is that if you stop moving, generally it's easier if you're facing away from your opponent. He will go and attack in your honor. He will go and attack the enemies, and he does. He's quite the weakness for many bosses upcoming now. The thing you want to be wary of is, of course, one of the things is the ammo, and of course, you can also try to juggle beat because you can actually catch him at the top of your jump, and he considers you not moving at that point, and he can actually take a hit, give you a hit for you while you're in the air. So you're gonna see a lot of instances where they try to catch Beat in the air and land 1 or 2 hits as well.
Yeah, there are really three. There are 3 bosses primarily where Beat is going to get his due, and we saw one of them. Darkman 4 will be the next one, I assume, in some form or another.
Yes. And very nice arrows placed by Feral. Right, he has enough to take out. Oh, he got a little bit extra. Take out the thumper, and this is a very precise arrow. You have to slide under here and do a little small jump to jump on the second arrow and right on the perfect pixel. So that was pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's very, as you say, it's very precise. So you're seeing Khanster actually is going to ride the boat, and you're going to see it's going to be like night and day as far as the his approach, and he's got a nice got a couple of health pickups in a row there from downed enemies that should help him. Yeah, through ready for the mini boss now. Feral getting ready to take on the second Darkman boss. Or third Darkman, excuse me, this is Darkman 3.
Yes. And this Darkman 3, he shoots kind of these onion projectiles at you, and we want to be wary of those. They will stone you. I don't know for how long, probably around 5 seconds. It's actually a substantial amount of time. Either 5 seconds or until you receive contact damage.
It's a couple of seconds, yeah. It eventually does wear off, but it's pretty hard to not get hit by that point. So, okay, so Khanster has got all of the power up, all the letters. So we'll have Beat soon. FeralPigMan getting ready to confront Proto-Man again, the true villain of Mega Man 5.
It's like Proto-Man is right-handed, right? He's left-handed. Something's up. Fishy.
And doing this way before Super Metroid made it cool. A Deus Ex Machina.
All right, and we get to see Beat again.
Basically, just trying to outrun this the dark robot Proto-Man. And there it is.
Yeah, and you kind of want to be wary of your ammo. Of course, if ammo can still be depleted, even though you don't give damage, if the enemies in their invisibility frames at times. So you kind of want to be wary, because of course when you have to refill your M tanks, it's actually going to take longer. It kind of adds up, because we use a couple of M tanks during these runs. Khanster deciding to dodge the tigers.
Yeah, so Khanster actually finished the fight, the 8 Robot Masters, in 26:08. So about 7.5 minutes off the pace as we head into, as Feral is now going to enter the Wily stages. For my money, I think the one of the very best Wily themes.
Oh yes, I think it has one of the best tracks of the game.
Yeah, the soundtrack in general, I think, is one of the very strongest of the Mega Man series, with like some real gems across the board.
All right, and we have the M tank being used. This will allow him to fill up enough arrows to get through this part. This part on itself is a little bit more difficult without the arrow, because you kind of have to manage your jump in between the spikes and the conveyor belt. So definitely worth it taking the extra.
Yeah. And not especially, because I've done it without the arrows. It's not especially difficult, but yeah, like you need a decent handle on your jumps. And now we come to the press room. This is always a hoot to watch in speed running because it really is like one giant clench the whole way through. But Feral does it very cleanly.
And we get chicken jumps, so that validates the run, fellas. Nice jump over the chicken.
So Khanster is going to pick up some health here for Darkman 1 fight. Wily 1 fight can be a little tricky. Yeah.
Beautifully done, though. Beautifully done.
Yeah, very well done. But
so it's a little bit tricky because you kind of have to manage where you get hit as well. So you want to you take intentional damage first from the first platform on big pets, and from then on you kind of have to time your shots. And I actually learned this not too long ago that the head actually gives you more damage than the body. So that's probably why I took more deaths than I should have in my last race. But yeah, you definitely want to time where you get damage and also time your shots as well. So this is a very difficult fight to do. Optimally.
Khanster ran into a little bit of trouble with Darkman 1. Got him on the last shot. He's down to like 2 health as well. So, but manages to pull it off. FeralPigMan now in Wily 2, the underwater stage.
Yeah, and one of the things to note. So I think in the first races, I think we've been mainly talking about mechanics more. So one of the things to note about Mega Man 5 water platforming is that you can, just like similar to Mega Man 4, you cannot jump out of your slide. You cannot jump out of your slide when you're underwater. So you kind of have to be very precise and either cancel your jump by going in the opposite direction or just doing some right-in slides where it's just full-length slides. You can move smooth like that.
So Wily 2 fight. There's a bit of RNG to this, I believe, with how those slots open, but looks like Feral had no trouble. Gonna be heading out at 31:02. So 2 stages left.
He is in really good pace right now. This is actually a very, very good run.
Yeah,
I'm actually learning a lot as I commentate. I might snag some new strats.
Hey, why not? So now the tradition in Mega Man is you have to refight all 8 robot masters before we get to the main event. Mega Man 5 is kind of an outlier in this respect. This is the only boss we're going to see in a refight. Why? Because there is a trick using with a super arrow where you can clip through the wall and just go straight and fight Wily.
Yeah, and there we saw it just there. That one arrow strat is actually one of the hardest strats to do. It requires a really precise landing, and of course you have a limited time to get on that arrow as well. So everything about that trick has to be precise. It is the more you do it, it is easier, but definitely if you're in a really good pace and or if you're in a race, it becomes a little bit more trickier. Just kind of if you hesitate a little bit.
So Wily 3 is done. So now we're on to the final stage of the game already. So much easier. We get to skip 7 bosses. It probably saves about 2 minutes right there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a 2-minute time save. and we're gonna take intentional damage on the first one. And from here, we're gonna move on to the first boss, which is kind of like a skull-like enemy, and is actually weak to super arrows. So you kind of be in the Wily press. You kind of have to be wary of your ammo, because I think you leave yourself enough with taking the double shots in the Wily press. You leave yourself with enough ammo to take down the enemy. So here comes the final fight.
So now we have Wily, the final fight of Wily, where Beat gets his time to shine. And
without Beat, you kind of are at the mercy of the RNG of Wily capsules. So the main reason.
Nice double there.
Yeah, whenever you can, you kind of want to get 2 hits in and get him enough to track on the third jump. So that's pretty good that he's doing it very consistently. And it looks like it's going to be a low 34, but a very consistent run. And we have our first round. GG.
So that will do it. FeralPigMan finishes with an official race time of 34:15, but a terrific performance by FeralPigMan. That's only 16 seconds, 16 to 19 seconds, depending on how you look at it, off of his PB. So he was very much on point here in game 1 of this game 1 of this tournament. It's a debut match in the tournament also. So very strong performance indeed.
Very good run. Very smooth movement across. And just I don't think there was any mistakes on the arrow placements as well. So that's actually where a lot of the time loss can happen, where you actually throw an arrow and it's in the wrong spot, and you kind of have to walk through everything. We see here Khanster taking the snake across. Some people like to use the jet as well, but snake is a fun ride as well.
So Khanster on the Proto 3.
We got him frozen.
Oh dear.
I think one more hit. The E-Tank.
He's gonna burn his E-Tank here. Can't say I blame him. I just want to get... for someone like him, he's still learning the game, so these kinds of emergency strats are critical in these situations. So, but looking solid here as he goes into Proto 4.
Yeah, and one of the things that we didn't note last time on the Proto 4 stage, because we just had so much to talk about, and Feral just scorching each stage. And not giving us enough time to talk about the stages. So the hitboxes on these bricks, I believe, you can't hit them while the stage is falling. So during the time where the stage is falling, you won't be able to make contact with the bricks. So you kind of have to wait until everything stops moving and try to hit as many as you can before it starts falling.
Yeah, it's a tricky little bit of logic that you kind of have to work around as Khanster is getting ready for Proto 4, and he's not taking any chances. He's going to use his M-Tank here to help ensure that he does not have any difficulty with the boss.
Yeah, and this boss definitely still provides difficulty with Beat because it's very RNG, especially when he shoots the 3 shots. Like I mentioned before, you kind of have to stay stationary for Beat to lock onto your opponent, and that's kind of hard when you have this guy just shooting at you, right? And of course, beat doesn't travel too fast. So you kind of have to keep your distance. And then the safe strat is just to stay as far away as possible. And just to avoid those barrier throws.
It looks like he's got it. Very nicely done by Khanster. He's going to be out of here at about 38:45 or so after this little cutscene ends. So acquitting himself quite well here.
It's on decent pace according to his PB. And Mr. Cab actually brought a pretty good point. While you have an M tank, you cannot, the other M tanks during the game won't spawn because you already have it. You can only have one. So they won't spawn. And you actually get an M tank at the beginning screen of Wily 1. So it's just better to use the M tank and then get the one just coming up right away.
Right. Yeah. At the very least, you've afforded yourself that insurance, and there's another, I believe, in Wily 3 at the start, so you should be fine.
Takes the E tank as well. What did we talk about the differences in the? Ooh, you got to slide to the left on that one.
Yeah.
Surprise spikes. All right, but it's very early in the stage. We didn't talk about, I think, why some people play Japanese version versus American, or.
Well, yeah, I would say, as it is with a lot of games, particularly Mega Man, it's especially noticeable in other Mega Mans, but text scroll is faster in Japanese than in English. So, given the choice, runners will play Japanese over the NTSC version.
Yeah, and luckily, regardless of what you play, in the Mega Man leaderboards, they will auto-convert your times appropriately. So, regardless of what game you play, you still will be able to get a comparative time with other runners that are playing on different systems or different regions as well.
Right. Yeah, and according to the Mega Man leaderboards, it's about an 18-second difference between English and in Japanese because of the text scrolls. So, but other than that, the games, I believe, are pretty close to identical. So, it's not like Mega Man 2 where it's not just the text scroll. There are other noticeable differences that do have an impact on the final result.
Yeah, and I think Mega Man 3 also has some differences too, where I think one of the bosses attacks differently depending on what region. But I'm not in my element on that one, so.
I'm not really 100% sure about that one either, but no chicken jump for Khanster. Just finishing up. Mr. Cab pointed out it's the Flash boss.
There you go, Doc Flash. Yeah, I think it's the first boss you normally face. I think in the Gemini stage, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, but going back to Khanster, so we're approaching the big pets fight. The way this one was intended to be is you kind of ride up the platforms, you shoot the first and the second one, and it opens the eyes of big pets, and you just shoot them just before all the platforms get in. Luckily, Crystal Eye has a lot of ammo, so you can actually take a death maybe and still have enough to do a good fight. A good fight by Khanster.
Yeah, very good. It is worth pointing out he is way ahead of his PB pace right now. His asked you before the start of the race that his PB was 1:14.12. He's on pace to shatter that right now.
He's on a roll, man.
Yeah, even if he plays all the bosses, he'd still probably break 1 hour pretty easily.
Now this jump is actually.
Yeah, he helps himself to the spare E-tank, and now he's going to do some water platforming, a specialty of all Nintendo games.
Good D boost. Yeah. And as you guys noted, there was supposed to be that's tough. There's supposed to be an M tank on next to the E tank, but since he already had one, there was none showing up. So that's mentioned before. He has an M tank already, so the others won't spawn.
Oh, nice. He may burn up his M tank before Wily 2 boss just to hedge his bets. Even though he really won't make it. There's an extra life and a health up and health drop. So the game keeps on giving.
You don't want to get that health drop.
Yeah, not even with a damage boost. I don't think it would have saved you.
But this game has health boosts and lives to spare.
Yeah, definitely an outlier in its generosity, comparatively speaking, to the other 6 NES games.
Ooh, nice backup.
Yeah, that's actually the enemy's weakness is gyro. Well, it takes like 4 hits, I believe, to get rid of him. All right, so speaking of gyro, gyro gets another chance to shine here.
Yeah. So also one thing to note. Ooh, should E-tank here before he gets started. So one of the things to note about this boss is actually that you can actually, if his doors are open, and you're inside his body, you can actually shoot and still cause damage. So what a lot of people do is they take a damage boost, and then while they're inside their body, they take an extra hit instead of having to accurately place it in between the doors.
So 45-39 with 2 to go. Yeah, he's doing very nicely for himself. See if he can do the arrow strat, or if he's going to have to take on all 8 of the robot masters.
I think he still has an M tank, right? So
yeah,
he's going for that 30 tank again. So he can still try to get the skip, and if not, he can use the M tank. Does he have enough arrow? Yeah, he has enough arrow to try it.
So, but first, Napalm Man, nice carom shot there.
Khanster going for the trick shots today.
Hey, why not? Okay, that's it for the Crystal Eye, but Buster will handle the rest. All right. So, just a little short.
And this is actually like my first time I've actually seen this way done. I know of 2 ways. So far, we have the strat that we saw Feral use. We have one where we have the Badap strat, where you kind of place 2 arrows at a certain spot, and you can actually just wiggle through.
Yeah, it looks like Khanster is a little low on his setup. It should be a little higher.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more higher.
Yeah. Baron Haynes was telling me about it, and he's kind of walking me through how it works. And he said that you have to have your a hand position at a certain pixel, and that's how you get it to work. And he's having a tough time getting this to go. He's running out of arrows. He's only got a couple more tries at this. Ooh, that actually looked okay, but I think he's had enough, so he's gonna take on Charge Man.
And we get to see the bosses again.
Yep.
And we can also use this time to kind of talk about the bosses. We didn't really go into depth because in this game they kind of go away pretty quickly. So let's see, for Crystal Man, you kind of want to take damage from one of his from the crystal balls here, because they kind of they're very laggy. So what runners usually do is they try to take damage, intentional damage, and try to get hit by all of them. And that way we can just have a clean, easy fight.
They also don't do a lot of damage either, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the shot. And we're seeing Wave Man used on Starman, which I guess it negates his shield.
Yeah, it does. The kind of washing away, if you will, and it makes the fight fairly trivial. But obviously, you wouldn't do Wave Man first, not with the arsenal that you pick up along the way. The thing with I don't know if we mentioned with Stone Man is you don't want him doing big jumps. You want him doing the little jumps because he collapses on himself if he does big jumps.
And he becomes, I think he's invulnerable during those big while he's collapsed.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like, a turtle retreating into his shell. He cannot be hurt. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward fight. So that's 6 down, Gyro Man. Yeah, the thing with gyro is you don't want to go too quickly with gravity, because you can actually miss. You can go through his iframes, and you're in a bit of trouble then.
Yeah, and also he wants to be careful here with this part, because he doesn't want to. I know in the first battle he did use up a lot of star. And you kind of need that for the Wily Press coming up. So I believe he will have to buster some.
Yeah, he'll have to use buster a couple of times, probably.
And the way the Wily Press works too is he kind of has I guess he has, I believe, 3 patterns that he can do. He can depending on your positioning, he can move 3 times, 5 times, or 7 times. That's the way the runners calculated. One of the things to note that if once he goes passes 5, of course he's going to do 7 for sure. And that you guys saw with Feral that he actually that allowed him to calculate his arrow shots and get 2 shots in as well. So we get to see a lot of double shots and end this fight pretty quickly. We're almost done.
I think one more should do it. All right, very nicely done. So that just leaves the final fight, and all goes according to plan. We're looking at sub 60 here.
Right. And I'm curious to see how he handles these boss fights because I believe he's out of arrow. Did he use his M tank?
Yeah, he's tapped, I think, on that. So yeah, he is going to have to navigate a bit here with certainly phase 1 of the Wily fight.
He does have to tank though.
Yeah, he gets through this opening phase. He's not exactly home free, but the hard part is over.
Yeah, Wiley's offense is not generally too big. There you go.
He'll play it conservatively, just keep it, within striking distance. Okay, there it is. So here comes Beat.
Yeah, and one of the things to note is that you can actually hit too early, and you can actually hit too early. Oh, it happened. So I hope I didn't jinx him, but you can actually hit too early and it will consume an ammo. And unfortunately, Wily is an exact ammo fight. So if you do waste a shot, you will have to change to either Buster or Gyro, depending on your preference at that point. But Gyro is kind of set up so you can actually hit him from long distance. I think it takes only 1 or 2 damage, but if it's a lot, it's a lot of damage, it's just better to switch to Buster.
Yeah, and he got double hit there.
He has 1 more E-tank.
Yeah, and he might want to consider using it. He's getting hit pretty hard here. Okay,
so
he's gonna...
There you go, switching to Gyro because it just gives you a little bit more flexibility. Or Pyro?
Yep.
Power Stone?
Alright.
Oh, those rocks ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, gotta use Gyro.
Too early.
Alright, one more. And there it is.
PB, guys.
So yeah, Khanster finishes with an official race time of 55:21. So GG's to Khanster. Yeah, PB'd by quite a bit. He really did a terrific job, and that's with the DLC fight. You take that out, we're probably looking at about a 51 minute time here. So definitely congrats to him on a fine race.
It's always good to see improvement and PBs happening, especially during races. Man, the setting itself is already strenuous as it is. So GG to both competitors on the first run. If you guys want to see unfair matchup, just wait till I go up against Papat, guys. That's gonna be a doozy.
Ah, yes. Well, yeah, that's the way these things go sometimes. It's 18-player field, so if you feel you're ready to race, then absolutely you should give it a go. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah, honestly, I encourage everybody to race or join tournaments if possible. If you're, it's just adds having a competitive field. It's usually a good time where we start seeing like a lot of people join in, and we see a lot of people just joining on the leaderboards, new PBs coming up, and such. It definitely enticed me to play Mega Man 5 more. It wasn't in my original plans to play it as much, but once I joined the tournament, I was like, well, might as well join, right? And it's been fun. It's been great. So I encourage everybody to do it. We do have a lot of resources that we plug in for new runners as well. To kind of learn the game, we have actually an amazing tutorial set up also by FeralPigMan himself. And it's always good to see runners take times out of their lives to kind of just write a tutorial or make a video of a tutorial and to help other runners, understand the game and play it better. So.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Seen it happen in other tournaments, and it's always a treat to see people, learning and developing their skills as we go along.
Yeah, you never know. You might fall in love with the game so much you play it and you just become a top runner at some point. It's just sometimes the game just clicks, man. Like you just have a hard time in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, like you're getting all these gold times, you're getting all these strats down, and next thing you know, you're in the top 10.
Yeah, I definitely saw that happen in the Mario Land 2 tournament happening late last year. And people really learned very quickly in some cases.
Definitely, man. It's always a treat. And we're starting soon. So the good thing also is that we're gonna actually spend more time. We're gonna be able to spend more time talking about like what's actually happening on stage. I think the first race, I've seen it in the other races too, is you're kind of explaining so much about how things work, and you kind of just lose yourself in the stages. So now that we got everything out the way, we're gonna be able to do better play-by-plays on the stages coming up and talk about the stages themselves as well.
For sure. So I'm going to drop the flag here and get these guys going for game 2.
The chicken room goes out to the Mega Man community.
So game 2 will be...
Or Feral, if you're listening, dedicate the chicken room to me.
Yeah, don't dedicate it to me. For the love of God, do not dedicate it to me.
All right, so we're starting real soon, guys. I believe that Feral also mentioned this. You will see them reset because apparently if you let the intro stage run too long, apparently it sets a variable for you in such a way that it makes you fall off arrows easier instead of having to dangle and across them. So you will see them reset, and there we go.
Yeah. All right, so game 2 underway here. And while we have this mild break in the action, do give our runners a follow tonight. We got Feral putting on a run that's very close to his PB. Khanster, double-minute PB in game 1. Can he go for 2 for 2? Give these two a follow. And if you're so inclined, you can give me, Pro8007, and my co-com, Resisting Frame, a follow as well. But do start with our runners. They're the ones putting on the show tonight.
Definitely. And one of the things to note about these thumpers, they actually are triggered by 2 things. One, you can either be in really close proximity to them, or you can shoot. You can press the shoot button on screen, and it will make them fall. So they those are one of the 2 enemies that are sensitive to your time. Just slipped. But I think it's right near the checkpoint, so it's not that.
Yeah.
So those are 2 enemies that are sensitive to your inputs. The thumpers, and I believe the lions in both Napalm and later on in the Darkman stages.
Yes. Yeah, they also, but it makes sense for them because they're supposed to be animals. So yeah, of course, you get too close to them, they're going to respond accordingly. Clean Starman stage for for FeralPigMan and doing a nice job taking care of business with Starman. And ooh, nice health and life pickup.
Nice kill. Let's see if he gets the grab skip this time.
Yeah, it was one of the few mistakes he made.
Didn't get it.
Nope.
Oh.
He's 0 for 2. You know, that was like one of the few mistakes, actual mistakes I'd say he made in game 1 is not getting that skip.
Ooh.
Oh, that's very costly for Khanster, unfortunately, right at the door.
Yeah, and he gets sent all the way back. That one is a costly death. He was right at the door and gets sent back all the way to the checkpoint.
Yeah, this is a rough start for Khanster. You know, you don't want to, put too much of my thoughts into him, but maybe a little of that euphoria of that extremely strong PB. It's like, now it's like, well, do I do it all again? And it's like, yeah, you kind of do, but it's like you're kind of second guessing yourself, your muscle memory a little bit, because kind of got that energy, kind of like energy going in 2 different directions.
Definitely, it's definitely a mental game at this point as well. And we didn't talk about gravity stage actually. And one of the things is you kind of do see Mega Man go upside down, and believe it or not, it actually inverts the controls as well. I think only the up and down. So you kind of do have to press up to slide instead of down as you normally would.
Yeah.
And that is very tricky at first, but I guarantee you that once you play this stage more, it actually becomes one of the more fun stages to play, just because of this little gimmick that they put with the inverted controls.
Yeah, in general with the game design, it is one of the more imaginative stages, I think, in the NES series, because of it, that kind of gimmick, if you will. But yeah, unfortunately, so Khanster well behind the 8 ball here. He's just finished his first Robot Master. Feral just finished his second. Khanster is 2 for 2 on the gravity skip, though.
That does save about 1.5 seconds, possibly 2, depending on your angle. So it's good. This is a good way to finish the stage after a rough start. And here we have Gyro stage. Is it Gyro or Gyro, man?
I say gyro, but I think the European pronunciation, I think, is gyro.
All right. So we have the first arrow set up. This arrow has to set up where you kind of have to move forward a little bit and shoot that teleporting thingy up just before the arrow starts moving. And you do have exact ammo for that. So if you kind of use a little bit more ammo than you used to, you won't have enough time to shoot that arrow to kill the enemy. And as Pharaoh likes to say, letter K for killed if you mess up.
Yeah, that I can say it can be a fairly tricky little bit of maneuvering. If you get hit, or if your positioning is wrong, you're dead basically. So it looks like Feral picked up an extra life, or sounds like he did. But and I'll just go on record and say Feral gyro stage music, my favorite in the game.
Nice. I think probably Darkman 1 for me.
Yeah.
A lot of gems in this game.
Yes, OST is, I'd say, one of the better ones for Mega Man.
And jumping into Gravity Man stage, Gravity Man boss is actually scripted, as mentioned before, but also you can actually get a little bit of an extra hit as well. I believe it's a 3rd hit. So, and there is a task only hit where you can get an extra one somewhere in between. There's actually two of them, but one is more viable for RTA usage. But it's always nice to see new approaches to the stage. And coming up with Crystal Man. As mentioned before, the crystal falls are random at certain points, but you kind of set yourself up to be in certain positions where you kind of guarantee your success. But once you miss that shot, it becomes pretty much RNG. So you pretty much get only one shot, and you're pretty much at the mercy. One of the interesting things that I saw is actually the Star Shield being used as a backup strat, so it was necessary.
So this Feral about halfway through, actually about 2/3 of the way through Crystal Man stage, using gyro to just clean up the enemies, and nice job there by Khanster. He had trouble in game one with that going up the ladder, but this time he's successful. And all right, good. Yeah, he died here in game. He died there in game one, but gets through it cleanly in game two.
All right, and FeralPigMan making it also across, taking the intentional damage to mitigate the lag.
So halfway home at 8:30. And so next up will be Napalm Man. Got that K hardest part. It's hard. It's a lot. I will say it is a lot harder than I think people would give it credit for. It looks simple, but like try saying that when you've got an area full of enemies kind of bearing down on you. It's like, well, it's a lot. It doesn't look so simple all of a sudden. Yeah,
definitely. And one thing we also didn't talk about is these spike platforms that rush towards Feral. They are an automatic instant kill, so you kind of want to time your shots. And actually, one of the things we talk about invulnerability frames. I don't.
There are some interesting tricks to that. Feral having a little trouble getting out of the waterfall room finally does, and skips the extra lives. Like, no thanks. Anyway, iframes.
Yeah, iframes. So you guys notice if you guys play classic Mega Man, a lot of the bosses have iframes, but this game the enemies themselves also have iframes. Now when I first started playing this game, I did not realize this. I was I was shooting enemies, and one time I would shoot them three times, and another time I would kill them with 4 shots, and I was like very confused, and so eventually it was brought up that they have iframes. So you're gonna see a lot of times where Feral and Khanster, they just kind of take like these little time shots where they're actually timing everything just as they would with a boss fight, and just hitting right in between their invulnerability frames.
And Feral, with only I think it was 3 or 4 health, had to kind of play it very defensively, and finally gets rid of them, but little hair raising there. But yeah, I would say I think of Mega Man iframes. I think of like Mega Man 3. The bosses were notorious for it.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, also I think Mega Man 1, like the bosses had different iframes, I guess. I think
I believe that's correct. Yes.
So it's definitely a little bit different, but enemies having iframes, that threw me off.
It's like why are they so what makes them so special?
It's like my mashing just got obsoleted. It's one of my talents, and it doesn't matter.
My thumbs can't mash anymore, so that's why I can't run Mega Man 3, just because my fingers can't do it anymore.
Oh man,
I'm not sure they ever could, but it's gotten precipitously worse the last 5 to 10 years.
Yes, mashing is definitely something that's more difficult than people say. You know, some people would probably say, "Oh, just press a button faster." No, it requires too much more than that.
Well, yeah, it's like it requires a lot of sort of physical endurance. That's true, but it also, for some of these games, it's a matter of timing, and I think that's the part that kind of gets underrated in a lot of that. And for certain games, like it's like a couple hours of that, your hands can't take it anymore. But but it is interesting going back to Mega Man 5 that that the developers actually kind of had thought, well, why don't we add this as a trait for some of these enemies? And it in the grand scheme of things, it's not a significant change. In speedrunning, it is a bit of a wrinkle, though. I mean, especially compared to especially those who have played more than or speedrun more than one Mega Man game.
Yeah, it definitely came as a surprise for me. And it actually you get to see different strats as well because of how they handle these iframes. Especially like for instance, Khanster's napalm stage. Some people opt to just kind of take a charge shot, slow themselves down just a little bit, to ensure themselves they take a full charge shot and kill the tigers instead, while others, including myself, we kind of do like a little chain of lemon shots in between while jumping platforms. Wow, and Khanster coming up with the quick instant kill with the start shield. I did not know that.
I tend to use Crystal Eye for that, but that works too. Why not? Feral having a little trouble there with the arrow, but still has enough ammo to ride the express across the top of the train.
Yeah, and it's still a little bit of a costly mistake. Missing that first two arrows, I think you probably lose like 2 to 3 seconds on that alone.
Yeah, in general, it's not quite as sharp as it was. It looked based on the splits. It's not going to be quite as strong as it was in game one. And it's still very solid. And don't get me wrong, but that as it is with Khanster, it's like kind of having to repeat yourself in a race setting. Can lead to some just like very minor mental mistakes.
Oh, I think that's too short. He's going to give that up. So he did get lucky, and that final squeak did drop an energy drop, but alas, it was too short. To get that arrow, it has to be very precise. It has to be really at the apex of your jump, and you have to kind of jump and be able to push yourself forward to fall on that arrow. So unfortunate that he didn't get it. Would have definitely made up for the time that he lost during the first part.
Yeah. I like that you used the word apex there. Much appreciated.
I've been playing that too often, so it's kind of stuck on
me. Yeah, well, it's all right,
All right, and Feral getting rid of Charge Man. We didn't get to see the clear shots where he can get all 3 shots in. But it's still a pretty decent strat to kind of shoot and then pause buffer and then shoot again. You just have to kind of be careful when he starts dropping the charcoal down. He is invulnerable during that time, so that's the only thing we have to watch out for. So
after a bit of a rough start for Khanster, he's kind of rounded back into form here. He's gone through the last 4 Robot Masters pretty cleanly. Feral is on his last one, Wave Man, here in game 2 of this. It's not the first round match, but it is the opening match for both of these players. FeralPigMan, the 3 seed, Khanster786, a newcomer to the speed running as the 14th seed, but showing some pretty good strides already here. With his game 1 getting a PB by multiple minutes.
Unfortunately, Feral did not have enough to get the wave skip as well. So, did he have enough? I could have sworn he had enough. What did something happen?
I think he might have fallen off.
Yeah, that's what I would assume that happened, because his only arrow was placed at a really weird position. So he might have fallen off, and you're not left with enough ammo at that point.
Yeah.
He didn't link up also. Yeah, he didn't link up the arrows properly. That would definitely do it.
Okay. Thank you, chat, for clarifying. Much appreciated. So Feral having to do this the traditional way, but this shouldn't be a problem for him. He knows the pattern is the same all the time, so there is no RNG as far as who appears where and what and when. So the only thing you still got to pick up your letter. Other than that, you're fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder because, as mentioned before, maybe you can try getting that secret room. Oh, never mind. There's actually a secret room there where Khanster was at, but I guess he didn't elect to take it. Anyways, going back. Crap, what was I talking about? I forgot. Oops. I really forgot what I was talking about. Oh
yeah,
the weight bike. Oh my goodness! So my mind just shut off for a second. So the weight bike, you just can't shoot left, and you can't charge your shots. So it makes everything a little bit slower.
Yeah. It's not the first choice. A good stone fight from Khanster. Feral is out at 1902, so 28 seconds slower than in game 1. Still very credible. I mean, 1834 to 1902. Nothing to sneeze at by any means. He heads into the Darkman stages. But I think just in general, I think your best game is generally your first one, unless you make a horrific mistake in the first game. Usually your first game is arguably your best. It's the second game where you kind of get to test your resolve and your skill set, because you're likely gonna have to improvise in at least a couple of places.
Yeah, definitely, and it's always that first game that you kind of have the most adrenaline for.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of usually, I'm just speaking also from personal experience. It might be for other runners, but I kind of have like that first run, kind of have like that adrenaline rushing through you, and then the second run you're kind of more settled in. But at the same time, you're kind of like in this mixed place where you're kind of really concentrated, but more relaxed and warmed up. So you're more prone to, I believe, in the second and third runs.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I've done that in randomizers, which I know is not quite the same thing, but that kind of feeling, you get through game 1, it's like, okay, all the nerves are gone. It's like you just want to get out of the opening and, not screw up. Game 2, it's like, okay, we're feeling all right here. Game 3, it's like, let's go 5 more.
Definitely, man.
You're ready and raring for a fight. Nice jump there by Khanster to get the letter, and Feral dealing with my favorite boss. He's such a pain. In Darkman 1 takes care, or Proto-Man 1 takes care of him pretty quickly. So it's 1 down. Khanster, without Super Arrow, is going to have to do this the normal way, but using Crystal Eye makes pretty quick work of them.
Yeah, you kind of It is a little bit faster to do it with Buster though, because with, of course, as mentioned before, Mega Man 5 has a really higher drop rate. So you kind of want to not have Crystal Eye and then take all unnecessary refills, because you won't be needing it anymore after you're done with that transition stage. And I believe, how many frames is per each health bar that you get? Like 4 frames. So if you're taking unnecessary health, so if you're taking unnecessary health refills, that adds up towards the course of the game.
So nice, very nice Charge Man fight by Khanster, and informing us in chat he is actually ahead right now. So good for him.
What a way to turn the tables.
Yeah, that first stage, it's like it was pretty awful. I mean, it's a pretty short stage, but it took him 4 minutes to get out of there. But he has played largely very cleanly since then. So whatever nerves he was feeling have subsided, and he, maybe again, kind of somewhat speaking from personal experience, you make a terrible mistake. Sometimes it's psychologically freeing. It's like, okay,
I've done the worst already. Can't go anymore.
Exactly. It's like, oh, to hell with it. Let's just get on with it. So good Darkman 2 fight from Feral using Beat very successfully. Khanster is going to take the more traditional bubble strat up. Slower but safer. You saw Feral do his strats, and that could just as easily backfire on him. Khanster's gonna have to ride the boat again.
I don't believe he goes for wave skip. Did he go for wave skip last time?
I think he tried it. I don't know if he actually tried it, or if he was...
Most runners would, if they elect not to, they still do the arrow strat, because it does propel them through the majority of the stage, and then it kind of just sets you up for the cutscene anyway. You don't really have to do anything, but we'll see. You do save extra time also, because towards the end, leaving the bike also is like 2 to 3 seconds extra. So that's another reason to elect doing wave skip.
Yeah, exactly. So Feral, about halfway through Proto Man 3. So he's got to be careful here. He's taking a little too much damage. He's probably kind of hoping for maybe he got a couple of good health pickups in game 1 offset. There's an extra life. Okay, got his letter. Got a little small health pickup too. Feral is successfully using those arrow strats to get to Proto Man 3 boss. He's got to just watch the onion rings, and he'll be fine. He's got a nice setup. Oh, he got paralyzed, but drops the boss at the last second. So nicely done.
That's pretty clutch. And one to note about the arrows, and it shouldn't be used like as a deterrent to not play this game. The arrows are really precise in where they're put, but they're actually deceptively easy to do. Of course, nothing is really easy in a run or a marathon run, but one of the things that one of the reasons I personally played this game so late is because I was actually worried about, doing arrow strats, and when I started learning the game, I actually was surprised how not only how easier it was than I thought it was, but also how fun it is. So, that's one of the surprise takeaways from joining this tournament and from playing this game.
Yeah, it is. And as I said, a lot of the Mega Man games have those little quirks about them, if you will, like those little traits that make them stand out from each other. And the arrow is certainly one of them for Mega Man 5. Feral taking care of business with Beat on Proto Man 4, and surprise, surprise, Wily is still the villain. No, it did not change because we played this game again.
All that ooh, ouch! That's a very tough. Damage to take because it shoots you right down into a tiger. So.
Yeah, I personally just use Rush Jet on this opening section here. It's a little slower, but again, pretty safe.
Yeah,
20. Yeah, I was saying 27 flat for Feral going into Wily.
Yeah, and I was gonna note in that part where he was Khanster was using Jet. It's actually you can actually reduce the lag a little bit by just going straight instead of like kind of moving up and to the right. So that's one of the things you'll see runners do. They'll kind of just go straight, and you'll see it's a little bit more smoother, and you can actually save a couple of frames just by keeping it straight and not moving upwards too much.
So Khanster lost, had to actually burn up his energy tank there. Get himself back into this. Feral just uses M-Tank to refill everything for his super arrow, which he successfully uses to glide his way across conveyor room.
Perfectly placed arrow. And a little bit slow on the jet, and just got pushed off by the blocks. Alice, you can jump 2 times in a row. No, it's so close.
It was not meant to be.
Run invalid, guys.
Yeah, well, it's all right. So Khanster going into Proto 1 has a little more health to work with. He was, I think, at like half health when he fought this boss the first time around, and had a real tough time. Barely escaped, actually.
That's right.
This time, no big deal. Feral drops Wily 1, so on his way to Wily 2 now.
All right, and we see Feral going for the M-Tank again. And you're going to see very precise movement here because, as mentioned before, there is no... you cannot jump out of your slide in the water. And so you're going to see very precise slides. Especially here, you can take a full slide and have enough to jump right at the very edge.
And that kind of knowledge just comes from really understanding how the game works, and what can and can't be done. Because what applies to what, as I think we mentioned, nice save there by Khanster. Anyway, what applies to one Mega Man does not necessarily apply to the other. The broad strokes are generally true, but some of the mechanics will change.
Yeah, some of them have simple stuff, but other mechanics, like how far into a slide you're able to go, before you can jump out of it. I think in Mega Man 5 is pretty lax. You can jump off a ledge like as long as Mega Man's hand is touching, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other games, you don't really have that kind of flexibility. And here we see Feral taking some hits while he's inside his hitbox. As mentioned before, once you have if you're in iframes, you can actually go inside his body and shoot instead of having to aim directly at the doors. And we have Khanster jump walk off. Oof,
it's tough. That is a tough one. Feral out at 31-32. He's about 30 seconds behind his game 1 pace. So yeah, probably not going to match his 34-12, but should be good for a sub 35 if all goes well with the arrow skip and the Wily fights.
All right, let's see what kind of pattern he gets. As mentioned before, there are like 3 types of patterns that you can get. Oof.
He got boxed in, but he still pulled a double on him.
Yeah, as a runner, you can still tell. Like you can see, he knows he's gonna get a 7 here, because once he gets 5, once he passes 5, automatically it's gonna be a 7. So he counts. Usually runners count how many times he hits. Ooh, he missed the double shot chance there. They count how many times he hit the side of the screen, and if it passes a certain number, they'll be able to know. For me personally, it's very difficult in itself. Not so much the counting, but just setting up those arrows on time, because you have to kind of do it precisely. Because if you shoot too early, the Wily press will follow you and slam on you instead. So it's still a precise arrow shot as well.
So Feral in Wily 4 now, Khanster in Proto 3. Playing those lag, kind of exploiting some of those lag frames to get out of there. All right.
Oof.
Got job there, and he doesn't have an E-tank. So the price of your success of being extremely proficient at this game is, if in a setting like this, like, well, no safety valve, but he shouldn't need one against Wily Capsule, so he should be fine.
And good setup, juggling a beat. The optimal way that you want this is you want to have like I think what Darkman788 calls a 2.5 jump. You want to get 2 shots in, and then on the 3rd jump, get him in just enough time to track him so that he gets an instant hit right away. And beautifully done. We still get the sub 35, and GG's. We have
so FeralPigMan finishes with an official race time of 34:52. So GG's FeralPigMan for completing the sweep here tonight to move on to round 3 of this tournament, where he will face the winner of Mellow Flows and Mr. Swede.
Right, and here we have Khanster going through the final part. It's very tricky with the arrow in itself. You do need a proper arrow placement, And this might be tricky. This might.
Unfortunately, it goes into the pit of despair.
So what could have been done there is he could have just turned to the left and taken a damage boost. And I believe he was in enough height probably to and fall on the ledge.
It would have been close. Unfortunately, that sets him back quite a bit. He was actually on still in good shape on his PB. Unfortunately, that's out now, based on what I'm seeing from the splits. So.
Is the beat tracking a bug or a feature? That is an interesting question.
I thought it was a feature.
Yeah, I would say it's a feature because it kind of because you can see it's actually an intended weakness. It does do 2 damage compared to other weapons doing 1 or the Buster. It looks intended to just kind of make the fight easier.
Especially since a couple of the letters are in fairly nasty locations. So he is... Oh, he's gotten frozen twice. Still ahead on the enemy. Okay, should be fine.
Nice.
Nicely done.
Yeah, this boss is kind of like a little bit of a rhythm game boss. You kind of want to get your rhythm in, getting these shots placed, and then if you don't, you kind of just have to retrack and reset your rhythm. But sometimes he doesn't let you. He's literally on your back trying to freeze you or trying to stomp on you. So good job for Khanster getting through. All right, and we get to see the Darkman 4 fight again. And as mentioned before, this, even though you do have beat as a easy hit, you kind of do have to be wary of those shots in. We have Feral joining us.
Yes, hello. GG.
Thanks.
So, game 1, really put your best foot forward to start the tournament off, it looked like.
Yeah, that was a pretty good run. Definitely, 33 pace for a while until like the last few stages probably. Made a few too many mistakes, but definitely happy with that one.
Yeah. Was there anything you were trying to work on or make sure that you got right in these matches tonight, or was it more just kind of an execution-based thing for you?
Yeah, nothing in particular. There were a few things I wanted to get just on a matter of principle. Like I was trying to go for there's a 2-frame jump in the first screen of Dark 1, I went for it both times and missed it. I was actually, taking a death just to try for it again. But ended up not doing that. That would have been dumb. But I just wanted to not make any huge mistakes, which I guess succeeded at.
Yeah, it was a pretty clean run.
Well, game 2, just because, I think muscle memory or whatever it was, not quite as clean, but it was you were able to still get a lot of what you wanted done and didn't really have any major lapses or anything.
Yeah, I mean the second one was I was a lot more a lot more disappointed in that, but yeah, that's kind of more what I expect to get in these, just because nerves and all that stuff.
Sure. But I mean, still was a sub 35, so that's a interesting move by Khanster. It's kind of he's been speared or something. He's been harpooned by that arrow going up in the ceiling there. But hey, it worked.
So my question is, Feral, what happened on the second game? I think you attempted the wave skip, and I wasn't quite looking. Chat told us that you kind of missed the link on the arrows, but we're looking at Khanster, and all of a sudden we saw you with one arrow left for waves.
That's what, because normally I try to do 2 arrows for that screen. It's half a second faster, solely based on lag. 2 arrows versus 3. But it's riskier because you have a much smaller platform to slide on. So I've been doing three arrows. I did it in the first match. I did it in the showcase match. But I think just because I'm not used to hitting the B button 3 times or something, I don't know. But somehow I've messed that up 2 out of the 3 times. Just having the arrows be close enough together. This time I actually only pressed the button twice. I tried to hit it 3 times. I only hit it twice. So yeah, the arrows were super far apart. I tried to jump off to, give it another shot. But like you said, at that point, I only had 1 arrow, and you can't. It's not possible with 1 arrow, as far as I'm aware of. So
one day they'll figure it out.
I wonder if it is in the TAS. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Sure, Baron is working on some mad scheme to come up with a way to make it possible.
If anyone can figure it out, it'll be Baron.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So tell us, nice. What was your favorite part of the run? Which part did you feel most satisfied with out of the 2 runs?
It's a good question. I think my Wily won the first match was pretty good, and I mostly appreciate that most because I've messed up that stage so many times on PB pace, more times than I can count. Whenever I'm on PB pace, that stage is just always in my head. So being able to get that, because it was still a good run at that point, and a tournament run or a race. So getting that or doing that stage pretty well is really satisfying.
Yeah, a lot of that platforming, the Wily stages can get you. If you're not careful, it's you think you're home free. It's no, you forgot something.
Yeah, castles in this game are all really hard. Definitely not an easy end game. There's a lot of places where you can make mistakes, lose a lot of time, or just straight die in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I definitely feel especially in Mega Man 5, it kind of when you have a good rhythm in this game, it's so easy to get it knocked out of you with just making like these little tiny mistakes.
Yeah, and depending on the mistakes too, if they're like weird enough, or you don't encounter them very often, it can be really hard to like to on the spot think of a good way to recover. Depending on what it is. It can, and for me especially, like also depending on the mistake, like if it's a silly mistake, then it just totally gets in my head. Especially having practiced these stages a lot, obviously people build up a lot of muscle memory, so when the muscle memory kind of goes awry, that can really throw you off, like you said, RF.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've already experienced that in this game too many times.
Khanster actually used his M tank to refill all of his ammunition. Not a bad idea, since he'll get a free one back at the start of Wily 3, and if he ran into any trouble, but didn't, so he's out at 47.32, so about 2 minutes behind his game 1 pace.
I'm excited to see his setup for the refi skip, because I had the chat open. Sounded like there were some unexpected.
It's chat before, so I was just I was trying to figure out whether maybe if it was a misunderstanding or maybe if it's an actual like actual setup. So I was like, we get
I couldn't quite figure it out either. I've seen it enough to where I've never quite seen that setup before, and it was throwing me off a little bit. But he almost had it, I think, once, but yeah.
Oh, this is the same setup that I think Great John did earlier today. Which when I saw it, because I was watching the race between Scarf and Great John, and I also was like, what is this? But Brett Cizo, who was commentating that race, recognized
there
it.
We got to see it. Nice. That's a GG for me, man, because that one looks tough, bro.
So
I prefer that abstract.
Brett was saying that was like the original setup for when the refi skip was originally discovered. Like that was a setup. And there's definitely easier ways to do it now, but really cool to see that twice today, actually.
And this actually puts Khanster in great shape for a PB here, because he was not able to do it in game 1. So he has a shot here to really improve on his time and probably end up like a 52 or so, I'd say. So you could have double PBs here.
Oh, definitely, man. That would be big. This is definitely a big skip as well to nail.
He did all the refights last
he did all the refights.
He did all the fights, yeah.
I've never done a refight in this game. I started speedrunning after that skip was found, and I would just reset if I don't get it.
Well.
Yeah, I think I got comfortable with the bad up setup a lot pretty easier.
Oh, maybe it was Scarf then who did that setup today. Yeah, the bad up setup. If you're gonna learn the game, that's definitely the way to go. Since it's
I recommend.
Yeah, it's like basically guaranteed. As long as you're not slow enough that the arrows despawn, then it's really easy to get the push through the wall.
So he uses his M tank. He's got 3 E tanks to play with. So yeah, he's fine as far as health goes. It's just putting in the execution together. So got the arrows going fine. One more, and there it is. So time for beat.
And as mentioned before, we want to be careful with the beat ammo. You don't want to hit too early, too fast. It will hit an extra ammo without. It will use an extra ammo without causing damage. So we are looking at an exact ammo fight.
Yeah, so far so good. He got one that got a double on the cycle before this current one. No. Looks okay. Looks okay. It's still parallel.
That was a close one, but
that was pretty lucky.
It worked out.
All right.
And it is possible to get to be too early, where you actually hit them, and you don't deplete ammo. So we saw that happen just 2 straight times just now.
Yeah, wow. He's hit him three times without consuming ammo.
I think it's calculated, man.
Yep.
No.
Oh, he did. Fourth time the charm, so Gyro is gonna have to come in.
He's banking on getting a real close.
Oh.
And he got it.
Oh, he does. Wow.
Nice.
So double PB for Khanster finishes with an official race time of 52:43.
Double PB, pretty good. That was I think he said his PB was 1:14 going into this.
Yeah.
So like 22 minutes. Pretty legit.
Well, I'm sure. It looked like he'd been practicing a lot, and we can get the answer straight from the horse's mouth now. We welcome our double PB finisher, Khanster786.
What's up?
GG.
That was something.
GG, man.
Now, if only everything comes together, you're looking at what, a 47-48 or so right now?
Something like that. It says sum of best is a 45.
There you go. Yeah, because game 1 couldn't get the arrows skip. Game 2 you did, but game 2 also had some misadventures early that kind of set you back a little bit.
The misadventures of Starman.
Well, we've all been there.
Well, I haven't been there yet, but I assume I'm not too far from that happening to me also, with the way that stage is set up.
Yeah. Now that you've said that, it's certainly going to happen.
It's going to happen, right? Oh, crap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. But it was a solid performance. Looked like you really been putting in the hours on this game.
The funny thing is, my original PB is from like 2015, 16, somewhere around there. And I just started practicing yesterday.
Hey, man, it shows, man. The practice came in strong.
Yeah.
I mean, Baron had a 16-minute tutorial for 8 robos. That's all I needed.
Well,
And the rest is just reaction time.
Yeah. What surprised you the most throughout your play? Like, what were you not expecting to pull off today?
Getting refight skip.
Yeah, I know game 1 you had some trouble with it and ultimately abandoned it, but game 2, able to get it to go, especially before the M tank, which I think was crucial for you.
Yeah, I think so I kind of pre-planned it going into Wily 3, where I used my M tank at the boss of Wily 2, so I get that M tank. Because I had I had little ammo to work with last time.
Mm-hmm. That was my impression as well. Like you were hedging your bets and just saying, okay, if all else fails, I have this as a backup.
Yeah. But I think it was Dark 2 where I took a very rough death.
Yes, yeah, that or no, I think it was 3 actually. Dark 3 is where you went off the edge, I believe.
Yeah, I was I don't know what to do. That's kind of basically why I paused. I was like,
Well, we've all been there. It's like you kind of get, mentally frozen. It's like, okay, now what?
Like, I knew going into this match I was gonna get destroyed because I hadn't done any practice until yesterday.
Hey, man, the only thing that got destroyed was your time right now, bro.
That is fair.
But no, yeah, that aside, it was, it was an uphill battle, but hey, a double PB would take that, right?
I honestly wasn't expecting a PB to happen after everything that from the start.
Yeah.
Like, I was just throwing gold everywhere, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm ahead. And then I'm back in the red.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, game 2, yeah, you were able to kind of pull yourself back into it, and then the skip got you in there. So, that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes, those PBs, it's like it's an ugly PB, but it's a PB.
Yeah, I think my problem with the first round I was doing, I wasn't sliding from B to A. I was just pressing and just jumping. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. Feral, you're facing off against the winner of Mellow and Mr. Swede. Any thoughts about that?
Well, guess it would be cool to go up against Mellow. I met him at AGDQ 2020 last year, so it'd be
nice.
It'd be fun to destroy him after meeting face to face. But either way, it'll be a good time, I think.
He's like, you are my friend, but not for the next 2 matches.
Well, such as it is, in these situations, it's gotta put it all aside. So, well, GG's both of you. Fine performance as always. Good luck, Feral, in your next match.
Thank you. Thanks for commentating, guys.
Oh yeah.
Good luck.
All right. So that'll do it for us, I think. So we'll be back. I think our next match is on Saturday at this rate, unless something comes up on the schedule between now and then. So until then, have a good night. And as always, give our runners a follow.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.